Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're answering listener questions. What are our best Amazon finds? How do we logistically plan out our days? What was the best and worst season of motherhood? Join us for all this and more. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're answering your questions. We asked for topic ideas on our Instagram recently, and you delivered. Thank you for letting us know what you'd like to hear us talk about. Today we're going to address a few of those topics at one time, since we're not sure if they would really be a whole episode in and of themselves. Although, one thing I've learned in the years that we've been podcasting is that we could take the smallest, insignificant topic and talk about it for an hour.
We can string it out for eternity.
I don't really know how far we're going to get on our list. We might only end up covering one thing, but we'll get to it, get to the other ones eventually.
That was so fun. All the different topic ideas that people sent us. And so thank you guys so much for doing that. It helped us tremendously.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was so exciting to see them all come in. I think they all came in like the first day or two. So that we had.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great. And we did learn that, like we can talk about the smallest insignificant things, you guys don't mind hearing about the smallest insignificant things.
I was going to say, apparently there's nothing too small that we could talk about.
Right.
Right.
So that's good. That's a sign of true friendship. There's nothing too small that you could talk about. So we will start out with probably going to take the bulk of our time, our Amazon finds, because a lot of people wrote in, do a whole episode on I'm a Fan. Tell us your Amazon finds. Tell us what you like to buy. All women are interested in what other women shop for. So we don't know if these Amazon finds are anything that unique, but apparently people are interested. And I know that I am interested in what you guys are going to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So Julie, I think that you kind of went to town on these. You said you found a lot more than you thought. So why don't you jumpstart us here?
Yeah, I had to go back, maybe past this year, but I did find a lot of good things.
Okay.
So my first one was my solar landscape pathway lights. And I know I've shared this before because I even got feedback that other people had bought them.
Mm-hmm.
But they've really held up. I can say, okay, I've had them a year now and they still work great. So that's a good thing. Because, on Amazon, you just never know if something's going to quit working in 3 or 4 months. Right. So they made it through all the snow and the ice frozen on them and seemed to be doing fine.
Wow.
Another thing I thought about was my drop cloth curtains that I have on my back porch and on my front porch. And I got those drop cloths on Amazon, and they come in either 9x12 or 12x15. So it's a huge piece of fabric. If you know anything about sewing, fabric doesn't come in very wide widths, so you have to piece everything. So these are these huge cloths that you can just hang up with clips.
You didn't even have to cut or sew them?
No. And so on the front porch, they would be too long. So I folded it over and you have like a ruffle at the top. So it just folds over.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So there is no sewing and they don't fade. You can wash them. They're kind of they're not white. They're kind of a taupey gray color, a very natural color. They're real soft.
Yeah.
My other thing was the flicker flame bulbs that I got that look like a gas lamp, and they're still going strong. I just keep it on day and night.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 bulbs in my fixture, and I've not changed them yet. I mean, they never go off.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think they look pretty decent, don't you, Marie?
Oh, I definitely think they look great. If you don't have gas lanterns, this is like the next best thing.
Yeah. And when I hear flicker bulb, I usually cringe because they're usually so bad. But these really are good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The other thing was my women's down puffer jacket. I like it because it's kind of hits mid thigh. So it really adds a lot of warmth just by coming down to your thigh. And it's packable. So it came in a little, it can fold up to like the size of like a small book. Very lightweight, but super warm. And that's just something I wore all winter, probably even in the spring. I have a dimmable LED pharmacy floor lamp. And I was looking for something to go to the end of my couch because it was kind of dark, like to read by. And I love brass, but brass can be pretty pricey. So I just started looking. I think I saw this on somebody else's Amazon finds and looked into it. But it was around $60. It's brass and it's LED and it goes up and down. So you can adjust the height and then you can like angle the bulb more towards you, you know. And I think it even has 3 different levels of brightness. So I love it. It's really, really pretty. And I thought that was a really good price.
That is. And I love the idea that you can dim it. So how low can you dim it?
I can't remember if it says dimmable. I think it's 3 levels.
Okay.
You know, you just tap the little on button.
Yeah. I like that idea though, because if you don't want to read and you just want some light, you can just have it on the lowest setting.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty on, even if you're not reading, because it doesn't just light up. It doesn't flood the whole room. It just adds a nice amount of light. Something else I bought recently that I took to Lubbock for my grandson was card holders. He's into playing cards, but you know, little hands have trouble holding cards. So he was having to like put a pillow on the table or whatever and had his cards, you know, face up like on the table. So I got these great card holders and they come 4 to a pack, different colors. And then you hold, you know, they can just, it's like a little stand and you can put the cards in it or you can hold it in your hand too. But that made cards really accessible, you know, for little kids.
That is a great idea.
Yeah. And I found those on Amazon. Let's see. Oh, my travel pillow. Okay. I did weeks of research to look for the best travel neck pillow before I went on my trip to England. And I was so afraid I was going to buy the wrong ones because, you know, you'd read a lot of great reviews and then you'd get a terrible one. And so the one I went with was the ostrich pillow. Now, I did pay more than my son couldn't believe I paid like $60 or $70 for this pillow. But I'm going to tell you, I picked the right one. I slept so nicely on the plane going to England because, you know, the seats don't recline like they used to. You get about an inch of recline. And so my head always falls forward. And so this kind of wraps around and you can turn it to where the high side is like if you're going to sleep to the side or the front or whatever. It was great. So I do recommend that if you're looking for a good travel pillow. Now it doesn't, you know, it doesn't pack up small. It doesn't inflate. You got to carry it.
Okay.
But I just kind of hooked it onto my backpack.
Okay.
Great.
So,
hey, we will pay for good sleep.
Yeah.
In life years. I'm like, if you tell me you slept good, I'm like, yes, that's a good investment.
You're right. I did not mind. After I used it, I thought this was well worth the money. Yeah.
Well, and your son was traveling with you. Did he have a lesser price travel pillow?
No, he had no pillow.
Oh, and how did he sleep?
Well, I just don't think it's a big deal.
Oh,
we're not worried about
it. Yeah. He probably watched movies all night and didn't care.
True.
You know?
True.
Right? So yeah, that's just not an issue. So
okay.
But this was obviously my top concern for going over there was how do I get the most sleep I can on the plane?
Clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I think I have 2 more things. My CRZ Yoga women's mid-waisted running shorts with liner and zip pocket. So I ended up getting 2 additional pairs because they come in like 10 colors. They're really, really comfortable. I think they're kind of a Lululemon dupe, but very good price, you know, probably in the $15 range.
Okay.
Yes. And then the last thing was when we moved and when my mom moved in, we both needed new like return address labels. So I bought one of those self-inking stamps. I think in the past I had ordered it from some really nice company, and this one I just found on Amazon and they work just fine. So it's just kind of a nice thing to have, you know, when you're sending a letter to have your personalized, and you can pick different fonts and different kind of decorations that go on it.
Nice.
Those were my biggies, my best.
Yeah.
The best I have to offer.
I love all of those. And it helped bring to mind some of the things that I had forgotten that I bought. So I'm glad you went first, Julie.
Okay.
Yeah. And listeners,
what do you guys have?
We are going to put all the Amazon links in our show notes. So we know that we're kind of rattling them off fast, but I will put the Amazon links in our show notes. All right, Mindy, what are yours?
Okay, well, the first thing that I'm using every day is my organic argan oil. We're hitting spring down here in the South, but it's still just dry and cold. And I have loved having that little dropper of argan oil. Again, I use it on my skin at night and then my hands during the day. And it really has helped. My fingers haven't cracked, like the skin hasn't cracked like around my thumb, or like there's certain places that I've struggled with before. I didn't think I had many Amazon finds, but as I was sitting on my couch last night, looking around preparing, I realized how many things my eye caught that I got from Amazon. I was like, okay, so half my house came from Amazon. So you guys just settle in because I have a list.
Okay.
So particularly for my house, one of my favorite things are the smart plugs that we bought off Amazon for all of our lamps. And so we can then use our phones to power them on and off. And they're set, certain ones are set on a timer to come on at 6 o'clock in the morning, just a few. We have loved those. And when we have added lamps, we've been able to find the same smart plugs so that we can keep them all on the same app because there's an app that they are powered by.
Okay.
All of my blackout curtains and room curtains have come from Amazon. So I got the recommendation from Chris Loves Julia. I got their recommendation for the full panel wall curtain that I had my son hang for me. I got the curtain rod from Amazon and also the curtains because these were wide panels. They are blackout, but they look like a heavy quality material. I mean, they look like pottery barn. But it's an Amazon find. And so I would use a recommendation if you're going to buy curtains because they're just not all created equal. And so I have sent some back in the past, but these I have loved and I've gotten a lot of compliments on them. When I wanted to have fun and get some velvet curtains, I ended up getting my dark sage green velvet curtains off of Amazon and was very happy to find those on there. Also from the Chris Loves Julia Insta page, they have a whole line of area rugs. So I ended up getting a good deal off of Amazon because they'll kind of post when they're running specials. But I was able to get different area rugs for different rooms that I absolutely love. So if you're looking on Amazon, you can type in Chris Loves Julia area rugs, or they're called, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Lolo or Loloa, Loloi.
Oh, yeah. Lolai or something.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I love all of the different options there for those. A couple of fun things, easy life-changing things are our 3-in-1 charging stations for our phones. So you can charge your Apple phone, your AirPods, your Apple Watch all at the same time. Those have been Christmas gifts in the past. And I feel like every time somebody gets a new Apple Watch or AirPods, they're like, oh, I need one of those charging stations.
That's a great idea.
I bought an extra. It sits in the kitchen for anybody that needs it. They're like $35 and it's nice. It's nice to just have that charging station set there. We use a lot of the glass Pyrex dishes to store food, like, leftovers. And we had them such a long time. The glass was fine, but all the lids are plastic. They start to break down over time. And so we ended up finding replacement Pyrex lids on Amazon. And
that's a great idea because I have ones that could stand to be replaced, but the glass is fine.
The glass is completely fine. So we actually just replaced the lids.
That's a great idea.
The other thing is kind of along the same lines, sports bras, the pads. If you have the removable pads, this has been an I'm a fan in the past for me. You can buy replacement pads. I love that. So you can buy replacement pads for your swimming suit or your sports bras because the actual suit, swimming suit and bra are fine, but maybe the pad is worn out.
I did buy those when you mentioned those as I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yes. And they only last so long. And sometimes I've read that you can iron them to get any creases out that happen to settle in. So FYI.
Yeah.
Recently, my son-in-law got a great gym bag off of Amazon. gym bags for guys apparently is a whole thing. I don't need one, but Bryce has been in love now with his new gym bag that Joey recommended.
Oh.
Because if you have like wet, sweaty clothes, there's a place to put your shoes. Like it's all about the compartments. And so I will share the link for this, but especially for the guys in my life, they're all about their gym bags. So
yeah, it's good.
And then, okay, the last thing is I have actually found some great summer dresses.
Oh.
Last summer, I found some wonderful, adorable, cheap dresses. And so then anytime I'm going to the beach or on a cruise, I have a different summer dress for every night if I want to. I mean, literally, you can be so extra with a good Amazon find. And so I will try to find some of those links for those dresses, but they're just, you're not paying a lot and they look so cute and they're just easy.
Yeah. No, I love that idea. Yeah, I forgot about the curtains when you were talking. I think I bought every single one of them, with the exception of one room, off Amazon.
Yes.
And yeah, you're right. Especially if you go to like different websites and say like curtains that are recommended and then follow their links, because then they usually have something to say about them. It would be hard for me to just go and just blindly search curtains because there's probably 12,000 choices.
Right.
Yes.
It's hard to know what's good and what's not. Yeah.
Well, you've inspired me, Mindy, about the lights using the smart plugs, because I used to just leave certain lamps on 24/7, and now I find myself turning them off every night, and so I'm going to try that. And I like that you can do the timer.
Yes.
Instead
they're
of having
set up.
And
even our outside lights, that are over our outdoor deck, those are like Bryce has them labeled porch lights. So we can hit porch lights and it's actually 2 plugs, but they'll pop on together.
Oh, nice.
So you can actually organize even by rooms or sections, or I don't know how to do it, but Bryce does. So,
but it has to be plugged in. It's not a hardwired light. It has to be a plug-in.
It's plugged in to the smart plug. And then you are able to navigate it with the app on the phone.
Okay. All right.
I had a few things that I thought might be general enough that people might like them. One thing I've bought several times is this picture frame on Amazon. It's like a darker brass, but it has some scrolling on it. Like I feel like it goes with a lot of different finishes. Let's see what it says here. It says it is Golden State Art is the brand. It's ornate finish photo frame with white matte. And so it's perfect for an 8x10 picture if you want the matte. And so it's really an 11x14 frame. But I would say the frame, it's about $20, but sometimes I even buy the used very good ones. And like that one right now is $13. And so I've found that they're great because when I've gone on vacation, sometimes you can pick up some cute artwork. Like when we were in France, I couldn't find anything that I wanted to bring home. They were all real kitschy souvenirs, kind of like a light up Eiffel Tower or something. Like I just wanted something that I could keep in my home. But I think it was 3 for $5, you could get these kind of like watercolor sketches and then also just these pen and ink sketches. And you got 3 for $5. And if you put them in a nice frame, they look like an elevated piece of art. And so I guess I've used these frames several times for different things that I've gotten on vacation. And then I did some needlepoint for my daughter-in-law and my daughter for Christmas. And I don't think I used this exact frame, but I used, again, like a frame on Amazon that is 11x14. It comes with the mat and it's really an 8x10 opening. And that just makes whatever you're putting in there look so much nicer. And they're really not that expensive,
Oh, that's a great price.
So yeah, I definitely recommend things like that just to elevate whatever you want to put in. I bought this for myself and then my mom wanted one. And I know there's a ton of Bluetooth speakers out there. The thing I like about this one is that it's white. It just kind of blends in with my countertop and backsplash. You don't really see it, but it's right there on the kitchen counter and I can hook up to it. It's a good one on Amazon. I think it's $30. So it says $39.99, but it says you can apply a $10 coupon. So automatically they're giving it to you for $30. And it has 24,000 reviews. There are 5 stars. So like it's one, but you can find a ton of Bluetooth speakers, but sometimes I feel like You just need to go to one that you know is good and hit buy because
yes,
you do end up using it. Let's see here. Oh, I bought this for my daughter-in-law, and I bought it for myself. And so I feel like if she liked it and I liked it, it spans a wide age range. So in my kitchen, I used to have my hand towel hanging on my oven, like the handle of the oven, because it was close to the sink. But when I moved into this house, there wasn't anywhere to hang my hand towel, and I like to have a hand towel accessible. So I wanted to buy one of those stand-up ones. But a lot of times I've felt like they're either too short, like I go to someone's house and their hand towel is touching the counter, and I don't like that because if it's right by the sink, it's going to absorb the water droplets from the bottom. Or they're kind of flimsy. Like I feel like when I go to dry my hand, it feels like that thing's going to fall over. So I ended up getting this one. It is a heavy-weighted hand towel holder with a crystal ball at the top, and it comes in brushed nickel, matte black, oil rub bronze, polished chrome, so any of the finishes that you want. And I've used it now for a year and a half. It does not fall over. It does not let my hand towel touch the countertop, which were my two criteria. So I'll include a link to that if you're having trouble, like in a bathroom, sometimes there's not a towel holder, or, if you just want a place to hang a towel. I've used these several times, ordered them several times. They are the large, I think people call them IKEA bags. These are not actually IKEA bags, but they're extra large blue moving bags. So you'll see them a lot of times when college kids are moving into college. I've used them when my college kids come home. A lot of times they'll just pack their clothes in one of these because they fold up, they slide under their bed. It's not taking up room like a suitcase would. They can just throw. I mean, I think that I could probably fit almost my entire wardrobe in one. They're that big.
Yes.
But I've used them when my girls are camp counselors in the summer and they're trying to fly Southwest. And they've got to bring all their stuff in just a couple bags. I mean, these are great. You can kind of duct tape around them and they still go through security and they still count as like, not a carry-on. What is that? Oh, a checked luggage. They still get up there. Lauren even lost one last summer. And Steve kept on calling Southwest and they finally found this blue bag and they opened it up and they said, does it have such and such sleeping bag in it? And we're like, yes. And so they got it to her. But they're nice because kids can be hard on luggage. They're cheap. I've replaced them, not because they wore out, but sometimes my kids just randomly lose them or they say they don't have them anymore or the other sibling took mine. I don't know what happens to these bags, but...
How much are they?
Let me see here. They are... A 4-pack is $22. Oh, also, and it says apply a 20% coupon. So a 4-pack is less than $20. So you're not spending a lot if you do lose one. They're great. Especially like camping. Like I packed all my camping supplies last year when we went to the national parks. Packed my tent in there, my sleeping bags. You just kind of corral it all and then just went down as a chucked luggage when we were traveling. Okay, let's see what else here I have. Oh, okay, this was another thing I used camping, but I've used them for several other things too. So I don't know if they still say this, but apparently it's better to to wrap your hair up after a shower in like a microfiber towel than it is like a cotton towel. Like it's easier on the hair strands. This is according to my girls. And especially like with that curly girl method that they use. So I got these microfiber towels off Amazon and I liked this brand. They don't shed, in the dryer really. They dry well. I've sent them like as their bath towels for camp because microfiber dries faster. I used them as our bath towels when we went camping last summer because microfiber just tends to dry faster than cotton. So anyways, you can get 2 bath towels for $9.99. So they're like $5 each. They wash well. I recommend them. I'll put a link in our show notes. And then the last thing I thought, because people ask me about this a lot, and I'll put a link in our show notes, how do you hang your china plates on the wall? And if you can hang them with the wire hangers that kind of hold the top and bottom, or you can buy these kind of glue-coated discs that you get wet, you put on the plate, you let dry. So I'll put a link to those on Amazon because a lot of people aren't really familiar with them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And just to say something about those, because I just used them 2 nights ago, I had a plate that weighed 11 pounds. And so you can use multiple on the back.
Oh.
So you could like I think because the biggest one only holds 6 pounds or something, you can put multiple and then just run a little wire between them and hang it from the wire.
Oh, I did not know that.
So it kind of collectively adds, how much weight it can hold.
11-pound plate, Julie.
I know every night I go check it to make sure it's still up there. It's a huge platter, yeah. So, and then I also have it on one of the springy ones. I have it's hanging up by 3 methods.
Okay. Yeah. Well, didn't you have a plate fall off the wall once that really scared you?
I did, and I hate to even say that I had used one of those yellow discs because those are recommended. That is the recommended way to hang plates. I think the back wasn't smooth.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be touching every area.
It had some ridges on it because I've never had a problem with any other.
Yeah, a lot of plates have a ridge on the back, and so I make sure I hang it down below that ridge. You want every part of the stickiness to touch the plate, but I've never had anything fall off the wall either.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So those were my Amazon finds. So hopefully, listeners, you'll find something in these 3 lists that appeal to you. All right. So the next topic that listeners wanted to know about, and I'm totally interested in this for other people, but I feel like mine is so boring. But I want to know what yours are, Mindy and Julie. They asked us to share the logistics of everyday living.
They're about to hear just how boring our lives are.
Okay, so Mindy, you probably have the busiest life because you still have kids at home. So you start sharing your logistics first. And maybe we'll run out of time before Julie and I have to share.
Oh my gosh. Brace yourself. It's about to be super exciting. Okay, a normal every day in the life of Mindy is I wake up between 5:30 and 6. I immediately make my bed. I go into the bathroom and I turn on my Joy in the Morning playlist, my Spotify playlist, because I feel like that starts helping me as I'm trying to wake up. And I go ahead and get ready. Like I'll do a little bit of makeup, wash my face, brush my teeth. I get dressed for the day. So I don't leave the room before I do all of that. And I'm drinking water. So trying to wake up my mind, I'm trying to wake up my body. So then when I leave the room, I go out and I say, good morning, my husband. And then I will get my coffee and I sit at the table and I'll do my quiet time and I'll start with journaling. And then I read the word. And then I really try to meditate on scripture, pray. And again, I'm still kind of waking up. I'm a really slow waker-upper. So I tend to wake up a little grumpy in the morning, but I'm usually pretty happy about this point if I've been able to do all that. So the Lord and I and a hot cup of coffee are waking up together. So then I kind of start to move around. I'll empty the dishwasher. I'll make my son's oatmeal. He's the only kid I've made breakfast for. All my kids roll their eyes and tease me. I'm like, it's a minute in the microwave. There's nothing fancy about this oatmeal. It's instant oatmeal. All right. I'm really going all out. But I'm emptying the dishwasher. I'm making his oatmeal. I clean out my coffee pot. And then I kind of start to prep for dinner. I get an idea in place for dinner. So at that point, I get the boy out to school. The husband and I usually, he's out the door, and then I'll go work out if I'm teaching, or I'll go to class. Then I'm running errands, any doctor's appointments, anything to take care of around the house. At some point, I'm doing some cleaning. I'm straightening things. I'm constantly straightening pillows and putting blankets away that we will lounge with later at night. It's so much daily stuff that most of these days are just like I'm doing all the same things. I'm checking on my kids. I'm available to my kids. I text with friends, stuff like that. And so then I'm like prepping dinner. People come home. We try to eat dinner together. If it's nice outside, Bryce and I'll end our day with a walk. And then we'll try to watch something on TV. If we have like a good show or something, that's about the point we'll kind of turn on the TV. And then if I can head to bed about 9:00, this is a good day. I can read my Kindle for a little bit and be asleep by 9:30.
Oh my goodness, Mindy. And I think I missed what time you're waking up.
Between 5:30 and 6.
So it is, I mean, going to bed at 9:30 when you woke up at 5:30, that's a long day.
Yeah. I feel the best, if I could choose, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay. You're so productive, Mindy. I was talking with Julie yesterday. We went for a walk. And we were like, what are our logistics? I definitely feel like I had way more systems and way more productivity when I had kids at home. I honestly feel like the more things that are demanding your time, the more productive you are. And kids are not waiting. Like they have to be taken care of. And you have to get people off to school and you have to fit your workout in at certain times and people are expecting you to pick them up. When you clear your calendar, it's like what Gretchen Rubin says, anything that can be done anytime is done at no time because there's no reason for you to do it right that moment. So definitely my logistics are better if I have planned things that I must do by certain times. Do you feel that way, Julie?
Yeah. So next question? No.
No, you guys have to answer.
Well, I thought about, is there anything I can say that would be helpful? But I'll just kind of do what Mindy did. I get up. I don't get up till around 8 because I've gone to bed very late. I do none of those things that Mindy does. I stumble into the bathroom and then I come out and I go straight to the coffee pot. So I've got no hair brushed, no makeup, nothing. Make my coffee and make my same breakfast, which is Greek yogurt, Trader Joe's grainless granola, honey, pomegranate seeds, or a smoothie. And I sit down at my table and I get out either my Streams in the Desert, my Utmost for His Highest book, or Jesus Calling, and I do my quiet time. Then I usually start to study something, something I'm interested in, listen to a podcast, do my book club book or my Bible study, something like that. And I can sit there, I can end up being there till 10:30 or 11 and nothing has been done. I keep a little notepad on my island and it's a big square notepad. And that's where I just keep like today I need to, I'll write Wednesday and I'll write 3 or 4 things that I have to get done today. And then over on the other side, it's just things I want done in the near future. It could be just this month or it doesn't have to be done today, but I just want to keep it in my mind. So I kind of check that. I check my calendar. I still have a paper calendar on the wall by the fridge. So when I'm out places, I put things on my phone calendar, but then when I get home, I transfer it there because I want to be able to see the week in advance. So I look at it and I look because my mom has a lot of doctor's appointments and I even write the standard things like my workout on Monday, my Bible study on Tuesday. I still write those. I want to see that morning is full, Then I can fill it in with things like meeting a friend or running an errand. And I kind of try to plan out my week according to like, I'm going to be out here anyway. So I'm going to add a Trader Joe's or a Costco run because it's near there. I just kind of consolidate things, always looking at this list, always looking at the calendar. I tend to do my grocery list on the weekend. I try to plan 3 or 4 meals for the week. And then like if we're out of food, that list that I keep on my island, that's also like pick up milk, pick up bread, I just keep all that written out in front of me. Trying to think of other things. Like I open the mail as soon as I get it now. I did not used to do that. Now that it's all on me, I open it right away. And if it's a bill, I can let 2 or 3 pile up on that same little notepad. And then I pay it. And then it goes into another folder to file. And then when that thing gets full, I file it. So I don't have a lot of paperwork anymore. I feel like I'm managing my paperwork a lot better. Most of my mail goes in the trash. There's usually 2 bills and about 20 pieces of junk. And so I don't like letting that. So I kind of try to stay on top of that. And like you, Mindy, I don't hear a lot of people do this, but this has always been a habit of mine is I think about dinner in the morning.
Yeah.
I cannot wait and think about it. Of course, I've already got my meal plan for the week, but I like to kind of think about which one I'm going to choose for that night. And if there's any prep, like any chopping, any thawing, anything I can go ahead and do, I kind of like to do it then. Back when I ate more of a casserole style one dish, I would even go ahead and prepare it and then just heat it up at night. But now I don't really cook that way. So I just like to kind of lay it out, thaw it, whatever prep I can do, because then I'm going to really do it when it comes time to do it.
Right.
I would say that I don't do house cleaning. I think we've talked about this before. Like, oh, I was going to do, vacuuming on Monday, laundry on Tuesday, whatever.
You're not doing that?
None of that. No, I rarely do anything. So, it's now just.
But it's always clean, Julie. I have never walked into your house and not seen it be clean.
Okay, it's an as needed basis. Marie's going to come over to walk. I vacuumed the hallway.
Oh, you did?
I dusted a table and I lit a candle.
Well, good thing I came in then. That made it worth it.
And I cleaned off the island. So, like, hey.
I was super impressed. I was like, where is her junk pile? Where is it?
Don't go past the foyer in the kitchen, Marie.
No, she came all the way back.
I did.
So, yeah. So I just kind of do things like as needed. Somebody's coming over, or it's late afternoon and the dust is really showing in the hall. That's when I vacuum it, when I see it. So
yes.
Yeah. So we do try to eat dinner together every night that we can, at least like 4 nights. Sit down at the table. I don't even count the island. Like I want to be at the table. I set the table. People will want to use, paper plates or whatever. Like, no, we have real plates. We're using real plates. I don't know. It just makes it feel like a real meal, a pause, more meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And then usually in the evening, I read. I might work on this podcast. I might work on my Bible study, whatever. And then I really look forward to watching 1 or 2 episodes of a show. I like to find a long series and watch it once a week. Or if I'm watching something on TV, like I don't like to binge it because I kind of want to have it last because they're so hard to find. Like I can't just blow through this show and then have to start looking for another one. So, and then I end up staying, like I was in bed at midnight last night. So I end up staying. I actually really enjoy my evenings because when John was sick, that was the hardest part because he went to bed about 5. And I thought, what am I going to do all night long? But I kind of see now that prepared me because people talk about hating their evenings. And that's my favorite time of day. I really enjoy. Like something just changes. I just kind of settle in and I enjoy it. So, yeah.
Well, I think you sound way more productive than you think, Julie.
That is awesome.
Well, I mean, I don't know that,
Hey, they wanted to know logistics. We're not exciting people here.
No,
we're normal people living our lives. Okay, I'm going to give comfort to anyone that's not so productive. So I kind of feel like at this point in my life, I'm in teenage rebellion. For 27 years, I had to be scheduled up at the crack of dawn for, whatever stage my kids were in, driving them to school, getting them on the bus, waking up with babies. Like nobody ever let you sleep in. Like you had to be on the second you heard their voice. Like I just feel like I'm in teenage rebellion now. And so same thing with like meals. I always had to be thinking about what we were going to have for dinner and like how we were going to fit all these things in, then the carpool schedule. And I'm kind of like in teenage rebellion that I don't want to plan all that stuff. I want to do what I want to do when the day comes. So the only reason that I get out of bed by 8:00 most days, like sometimes I do have an early morning appointment, but we're talking about generalized things here. Okay, so the only reason I get out of bed by 8:00 most days is because my dog needs to walk. And so sometimes if I've walked her late the night before, I might push her off to like 8:45. But I'm not reading my Bible during that time. I wish I could say I was. I'm scrolling on my phone. I'm trying to go back to sleep. I've probably been up at some point like from 3:30 to 4:15. And knowing that I do not have to set the alarm anymore allows me to go back to sleep. Sometimes I'll wake up at 8:00 and I'm happy that even though I was up for an hour in the middle of the night, I slept till 8. That's,
Nice.
So anyways, I feel a big sense of freedom in that. And I could be more productive. I know. Okay. So, I walk the dog and that probably takes 45 minutes to an hour. I come back. I love breakfast. My breakfast is kind of like other people's coffee. They say, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. I want to say, don't talk to me before I've enjoyed my breakfast. So I enjoy my breakfast. And then I start thinking about the day. A lot of times I might have a pickleball game scheduled in the morning or early afternoon. Or maybe I am trying to do something to the house. So I might be thinking, well, I could visit this store. I don't really grocery shop anymore that much. I might go to Costco. I might go to Trader Joe's, but we have a grocery store that's walkable. So a lot of times I'll just walk with Clara in the afternoon to get what I want for dinner that day. And that's one day's worth of stuff that I can carry home. So I'm not even planning what I'm having for dinner in the morning. I might have a general idea of what food we have around the house that I could make, but a lot of times I'm home by myself for dinner. I'm fine with crackers and cheese. I don't really care what it is. So I'm not thinking of this meal menu. Now, I do notice that when my kids come home, I start to grocery shop again. I start to think about, well, what can we have these nights? Okay, what do they need in the house for lunch? But if it's just me and Steve, I'm really not that concerned about it. He's never been a big one that's like, we must have dinner. Okay, another thing, I'm in teenage rebellion. We do not eat at the table. I want to have a show. I want to take my food upstairs to the bonus room, and I want to watch a show while I eat. I ate at the table the whole time my kids were home. We had family dinners, and we look forward to it. It's like, I'm getting the plates ready, and Steve's upstairs getting our show ready. Like, if he's home, that is how we are watching. That is how we are eating dinner. So that might sound terrible, but I think probably a lot of people can relate. And then after that's over, he'll usually have some more work to do. So he'll go off and work, and I might go downstairs and clean up the kitchen. I do still like to go to bed with the dishes done, and the dishwasher started and things like that. I still like to sweep. I still have some things that I do keep up with.
Oh, good. You haven't totally let it all go.
Yeah. Clara has to go for a walk. I still have her to take care of. I might have pickleball in the evening. It might be a day that I'm having my grandchildren over. So that really does make me be more productive. I got to plan a time to pick them up, a plan to take them home, plan out what we're going to do, plan to have food in the house. But if it's just Steve and I just don't have to plan that much anymore. And so I do things when I want to do them. And I'm kind of in teenage rebellion over it. Like, if I want to shop for one day, then that's what I'm going to shop for.
That sounds so European. Walking to the grocery store, shopping for one day.
I know. And see, I would have never done that when I had kids, because who wants to put 5 kids in the car? I knew someone that they told me, or they told a friend of mine, that they shop daily, and I could not comprehend. I could not comprehend how you could get your mind wrapped around the fact you would have to go to the grocery store every single day. It sounded
going to
so
the
terrible.
Every day.
But life
grocery
changes.
Shopping's changed.
Yeah. I mean, with kids, when I had a bunch of people to juggle, I lived differently. And, you know, I don't know. I hope people aren't judging me too bad.
Oh, I love each of our routines. I mean, it so speaks to the stage of life that we're in
different places.
Yeah. Yeah, because at different times, we've done different things.
Even like I walked with a friend this morning, and I don't even really want to plan a set time. I said, I'll text you when I'm up, because she's up anyway. And so she was fine with so I think it was like 7:20, and I said, I can be ready in 10 minutes. But if I happened to sleep till 7:45, I didn't want to make myself get up at 7:20. I guess I'm just rebelling against time constraints. I don't want to be scheduled anymore. I don't know, maybe in 5 years I'll feel differently, but I've had schedule and other people's needs on my mind for so long. Yeah. It's such a freeing feeling to be like, nobody needs me at this moment. I could do whatever I want to do.
Yeah, I remember being in that stage, because I remember that was the year I traveled a lot, and I felt like, should I do this? Can I go on 2 trips in 1 year? You know, like I just felt all this freedom, and I just did things, on my own schedule. But I, and I have kind of, I don't know, I think I kind of missed some of that, so I'm back more scheduled now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember what you've said, Mindy. I bring it up a lot. Like, you say that you go through seasons of rest. And I kind of feel like I retired from an over 25-year career of living and working a certain way. And so this is like a season of rest for me. It's a season of, what do I like to do? How do I like to spend my time? When do I want to get up? Like, it takes time to do that. I think anyone that's retired could attest to the fact that they didn't just immediately jump into retirement and know what they were going to do with their time.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to live a little bit in that.
I know.
Yeah.
I appreciate being able to talk to both of you because those days are still coming for me. Like I'm already anticipating, we've just got one child left and he's here for another year and a half. And I'm already thinking, giving myself permission even that I probably won't teach fitness classes or maybe I'll take a break because that's something that, is scheduled and gets me out in the morning. But kind of thinking that life is going to really change. So for the next year and a half, this is my routine. And almost just thinking, gosh, it could completely change after that. And I'm not sure what that'll look like. But I appreciate that you guys are, living well. And I like the freedom. I like even Julie saying I've come back to kind of a routine. And it is, So I can appreciate all those seasons and look forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's just things change, like who's in your house. Like, I didn't know I'd have my mom in my house. I didn't know I had one of my children back in my house. And now I really enjoy, like, I'm kind of having fun cooking, and I try a new, like every night this week, it was a new recipe and, kind of easy, and then I'm working on clean food and I'm trying to adapt our meals to that. And it's kind of fun now. Like, when you're cooking for your kids, it's just got to get a meal on the table, and then half of them like it, and you have to, you know what I mean? Like, but this is more like they're very appreciative, and and it's fun. Like, let's try this. They're willing to try more things, and and I like sitting there and talking, and it's just more It's just meaningful. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yeah, there's definitely different stages. Like when we ate together as a family, I didn't secretly think I wish I was in front of the TV. I think it started out going to the TV because it's like, oh, the table used to be so big. Everybody was around the table. And now, what are we just going to sit here and look at each other? I mean, I already know how your day went. You work from home. Like, I already know how your day went. Like, what are we going to talk about? So, I feel like we kind of moved to something else that we enjoy. I don't know. Like, I think you have to adjust for what stage you're in.
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, I would love to hear from other listeners on what your stage is. And maybe if we're still doing this podcast in a few years, it would be nice to look and see what we're doing now at that point, because maybe we'll be at different stages.
True. It's going to change. It will definitely change.
Yeah. Let's go to number 3 on our list for the day. And that was, someone asked us, what has been your favorite season of motherhood so far? And they actually wrote, what was your favorite season of motherhood and what was your least favorite season? But Mindy's such a positive person that she only put down the favorite season.
Overlooked the least favorite. Well, the least favorite's easy. I'm just going to say, like, babies, toddlers, potty training altogether. Like, just no. If potty training was included, that was my least favorite season.
That's interesting, because I feel like I have a different least favorite. So maybe we can include our least favorite if we want to.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, mine was just easy. But
well, Mindy, what was your favorite stage of motherhood so far?
Favorite so far? I love it when I can say right now, but I can't really say that right now. Because we're in this weird, we have one child in our home after having 4 in our home. And we're still trying to navigate like what to do with 3 people. I know this sounds very odd for people that maybe have an only child, but this is a really big thing for the 3 of us. We're not used to that. And so my favorite was when we still had 2 kids at home and we had 2 kids out of the home. And I think because it gave me a perspective that parenting was fleeting, it helped me be more intentional that with the 2 that were left, I could really appreciate my young adult children outside of the house. But I had 2 at home that they could hang together. Their spring breaks lined up together, their Christmas breaks lined up together. So we could do some trips with the 2 of them and they had one another, or we could do big family trips. And so right now, like, we're talking about spring breaks, and my youngest 2, like, they don't line up together. And the youngest one is like, well, who am I going to hang out with if we go on vacation? Because Bryce and I are wanting to do a bigger spring break. But I mean, we're either taking a friend or we're waiting or we're going at a different time. So we're still trying to figure out how to do this like 3 people living situation because it is we feel off balance. We enjoy it, but we feel off balance, if that makes sense.
Oh, and to be fair, it's only been like 6 months.
Yes. And it was an odd season because my parents lived with us for 4 months. So we did actually have that happen. And so now we're back to 3. And so we're still trying to figure that out and do it well. We're enjoying family dinners together when Nathaniel's home. He's gone a lot. So he's got 1 foot in our house and 1 foot out too. So we constantly feel like we're adjusting to, okay, who's here, who's not? Like, how do we vacation? Do we just wait? Like, what do we do? You know what I mean? So
having 1 child is a huge adjustment because even for them, I think it's probably bigger for them. They don't have anybody to bounce things off, against the parent. I don't mean against in a bad way, but in a fun way. It's a different relationship. It's almost like they're more like you than a child.
Yes.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I can totally get that. Okay, so your favorite was when you had 2 out, 2 in.
Yep.
Okay, and your least favorite was when they were babies and toddlers.
Potty training.
Oh, potty training. Okay.
Just potty training.
Okay. All right, Julie, what was your favorite season?
Okay. Being the furthest removed from this, I probably have a romanticized memory of this. And you're probably going to go, Julie, no way. But it's kind of like Marie's memories of COVID. I'm going to say the high school years. And I'm not saying that those were the easiest years. I'm not.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I remember we had lots of long walks and talks about the hard parts of teenagers.
Right.
But I just think they were independent, but they still needed you. They were fun. They were more on your level. The things that you could talk about and relate to. They were always doing fun things. And when your kids leave home, you miss them. But I also miss their friends, like all the friends that used to be at our house, and I don't get to see them anymore. And because we homeschooled, we kind of did things as complete families a lot of times. Like the parents were friends with us, and then all their kids. Sometimes the oldest daughter and then the son, and they all had a friend from another family, and we camped together, we boated together, we went to parties, game nights, holiday seasonal things, backyard bonfires. And so it was just a big loss to lose all those other people too. Youth group things, going to camp, I don't know, it just seems like there was a lot going on, and I kind of miss all that. Those were really, to me, really fun years. And I think teenagers get a bad rap, but I want to say that those were the best for me.
I feel like the teenage years are wonderful when they're wonderful. They're like the highest highs and the lowest lows.
And the lowest lows.
And you can have both in the same day.
Yeah. And I would say my least favorite was probably like Mindy, those potty training, those, I don't remember them as bad, but I know I found sometimes it could be a bit boring. And I remember just waiting for John to walk through that door, like here, here she is, or here he is. And just needing some relief or some companionship or conversation. And so I found that the most difficult. I won't say the least favorite, just the most difficult. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, maybe I'll start with my favorite ones. Okay, so I really did enjoy the baby years. I love order and routine. And I found that when I had babies and preschoolers and toddlers, I loved like the rhythm of, okay, they wake up at this time, they go down for a nap at this time, we have playtime at this time, we eat at this time. I know, okay, we can do this activity because they're in a good mood at this time. Everything was very, not all the time predictable, but most of the time predictable. Still, like a bright light in my motherhood happened when Abigail was 6 months old. And I set her on a blanket. She just learned to sit up, and she had a ball in her hand. And I could walk away, and she was sitting up, and it was bright sunlight. She was on a blanket on the floor. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, this is great. Like, she could sit on her own. I remember it was like wow, we've achieved such independence here.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time my first child did that. It was like, oh, wow, I could walk in the other room and she would not topple over. Like, I loved it when you could set them down and they couldn't like crawl away and hurt themselves. They could just have fun on the blanket. So like, there's a lot of aspects of babies that I really do enjoy. And preschoolers too, like they are in love with everything. Everything is a new, exciting experience. You could buy them the $1 toy and they were just thrilled beyond belief. Like it's such a unique perspective on life.
Yes.
But I saw this. I was trying to think of what's my favorite stage, and I actually screenshotted this in the middle of the night. So I was up for my hour, and I went to look up on my camera roll the things I'd screenshotted for my Amazon finds, and then I saw that I had screenshotted this in the middle of the night, and I thought, I so totally agree. It says, happiness is spending days together with your grown children and realizing that you've won the lottery of life. And I feel like that. I feel like the happiest time in my motherhood is right now because I can see the fruit of all the years. Like I'm seeing them launch. Like when we talk, we can talk about real things, real issues. Like our conversations are interesting. I look forward to what we're going to talk about when they come home and we have dinners together. Like, I want to all sit down at the table. I want to hear the conversations. I want to immerse myself in what they're doing. No detail of their life is too small. I've told this to Abigail, and she will often remind me, your mother is the only one that cares about the small things in life. When your mother passes away, no one cares what you had for breakfast. Like, you can tell your mother the smallest detail and she is interested. She wants to know why you chose that cereal over the other one. Like, that is how mothers are. And I love, like, I'm interested in what they're thinking, why they're thinking it, why they made that decision. And they're finally old enough to tell me. And I just love that we can be friends. I love, like, when we went to Italy with our girls over Christmas break, it was so nice that I could give them my credit card and they could go get their own lunch and come back. And I didn't have to carry anything. I didn't have to decide what they were going to have. Like, if they needed, they slept on a different floor of the hotel than us. And it was fine. Like, it's just, that's how the hotel put our rooms. And I didn't have to worry that they weren't adjoining. Like, we just text each other, let's meet in the lobby. You come to a point where you can just be friends. I can ask them questions. Like, look at it, says the directions are this. How are we going to do this? Mom, I will do the directions. Don't worry. I know what we're doing. Like, they start leading you around. Like, it's just a great stage. It's a wonderful, wonderful stage. And so I have to say that I love this time the most. Now, I guess when I think of least favorite times, there's an age that I didn't love. It's like when they're too old to play, but not old enough to get a job. What are they doing with their time?
You're driving them everywhere.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe even sports aren't in session. And it's like, okay, I don't want them just watching TV all day. I don't want them gaming all day. I don't want them on their phone all day. But when I say, what do you want to do? Well, there's no one to hang out with. I can't think of it. Like, it's like this period of time where they're old enough that they can't really play to entertain themselves. They're not having play dates, but they also can't get a job to use some of that free time. And I'm having to rack my brain to think of good, wholesome activities for them to be involved in so they don't just become couch potato vegetables.
And Julie, are you thinking of what I'm thinking about Marie at this point? Like summer.
What are you going to do with a 13-year-old boy? Unless he goes to sports camp all day, he can't work. I don't want him gaming all day. I don't want him on the TV all day. He doesn't play anymore. What does he do? It's 95 degrees outside. We can go to the pool, or what's he going to do in the afternoon? Like, it's very hard to entertain certain ages for 10 weeks in a row.
Yes. Every summer camp available, you start paying them to do your yard work and you get them a trampoline and make them stay outside.
I know, but in Tennessee, you can't even say, hey, don't come back in because it might be 98 or 99 degrees. Like, it's really hard. Summers can be really hard at certain ages. And I racked my brain to find things where they would have something productive to do. and not just sit there in front of the TV or their phone. It's hard.
Oh, the stages of motherhood.
Yeah, I'm so glad to not have to worry about what people do in the summer anymore. Like, it is a huge load off my mind. I don't have to worry about what educational activities, what fun activities, sports activities. You tell me what you're going to do with your summer. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm dying to know. What did you choose to do? We can plan a trip, like, I don't know. It's nice. I love this stage. This is my favorite.
Oh, good. All of your kids, the ones that listen to this podcast, will be saying, Mom, if you would have just treated us like you're treating yourself right now, that's what I wanted to do for my summer.
But 10 weeks of that?
Yeah. Listen, mom guilt will not allow us to leave you alone. Okay?
No, I can't just let you do what you want for 10 weeks. I'm sorry.
No. We need a plan. What is the plan?
All right, listeners, maybe you can relate to some of what we've said today. We definitely hope so. I don't think we'll do an I'm a fan because we will be leaving you a ton of items that we have found on Amazon in our show notes. Feel free to peruse.
That sounds great.
Come and give us your thoughts anytime on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast, or you can email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. All right, Julie and Mindy, I enjoyed this talk. I love that we had some listener questions to answer, and I look forward to answering the rest as we go on.
Yeah, it was great.
Enlightening, eye-opening.
Yes, yes.
Riveting.
Always learning more about one another.
All right, we'll talk to you next week.
All right.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye. We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.